Good morning, and welcome to the last day of the week, even though it's Thursday. A reminder that there is no school tomorrow because of parent-teacher conferences. So today we're going to talk about converting standard form to slope-intercept form, and the first question is, why would we need to do that? Well, one of the reasons we would need to do that is if you did the work yesterday, you knew we were graphing with intercepts using the cover-up method. Well, what if that answer is a decimal or a fraction and hard to graph? Or, even worse, what if the intercept is a number too large to fit onto the graph? Sometimes the intercepts are like 42, and I don't want to draw a graph that large. So, this is a useful but sometimes unnecessary thing to do. We don't always have to do this. This is just for the ones that don't seem to work with the cover-up method. All right, so first step, we want to remove the x term from the left-hand side of the problem. So that means we'll split this thing down the middle. Essentially what we're trying to do is we're trying to make it look like y equals mx plus b, which means we're trying to get the y by itself. So if I circle the part with the y in it, you'll see that the part with the x is the part we're trying to get rid of first. And even though you don't see it, it's a plus 4x. So the opposite of plus 4x, I want to get rid of the whole thing. I don't want to just get rid of the 4. I want to get rid of the 4 and the x, is to minus 4x from both sides. When you do that, on the left, 4x minus 4x makes 0x and cancels out. And we get to just bring down the negative 3y. On the other side, 12 minus 4x, well, I can't do that. Those aren't like terms. One of them has an x, one of them doesn't, so I'm not allowed to add or subtract them. So what I'm going to do is write them the way I want them to look in the end. I want the part with the x in it first. So I'm going to write the minus 4x first. And then that 12, again, you don't see it, but it's a plus. Can't just put 4x and then 12. There has to be something in between them, and that would be the plus sign. Again, that 12 was positive. So it looks really close to what I want it to look like at the end now, except for there's that number stuck in front of the y. So that's where I get to step 2. Divide everything by the coefficient of y. So the coefficient on y is that negative 3. And I have to divide everything by the negative 3, not just one part, but everything. So on the left, the negative 3's are going to cancel, and I got the y all by itself, which was the goal. Now, right-hand side, I've got two fractions to reduce, if possible. First fraction, negative 4 over negative 3, it doesn't actually reduce, but two negatives make a positive, so it looks nicer with two positive numbers instead of two negative numbers. And then the second part, positive 12 divided by negative 3 makes negative 4. And now I've got slope-intercept form where I can graph it a little bit easier. Let's try a couple more. All right, so got this equation. All right, if I tried using the cover-up method, remember we did that the other day. Let's say I throw away the part with the y in it and divide both sides by negative 6. And I end up getting negative 3.3 repeating. And for some folks, that's challenging to graph, and they don't feel comfortable with that. So this might be the reason that you would do the switch. So let's switch it. All right, again, I'm trying to make it look like this. That's the goal. And what makes that special is that y by itself. So that's what I'm going to do, is get that y right there by itself. So I'll get rid of that x term first. I want to get rid of the 6 and the x. Not just the 6, not just the x, but both of them. So right now it says minus, and I'll do the opposite, which is plus 6x on both sides. On the left, the negative 6x and plus 6x, those cancel each other out, making a big fat 0. Bring down the 4y, and then on the right, 20 plus 6x. Well, those don't match. I'm not allowed to add them. It doesn't make 26 anything. So since I can't add them and I have to rewrite them, I want to put them in this special order, the one with the x first. So I'll put the 6x first. Now, don't just put 20. That doesn't look right. It doesn't make any sense. You have to remember that that 20 was positive, and that's plus 20. Again, just to put the 20 on there doesn't make any sense. All right, last step. Divide everything by the number that's in front of that y, the coefficient. So divide everything by 4. Whole problem, every single number. On the left, those 4's cancel. Y is now by itself. That's the point of today's lesson. On the right, there's two fractions to reduce. Now, if you're on Desmos, you have a calculator, you can reduce these easily. If you're doing it by hand, you have to know that 6 and 4 can both be divided by 2. Divide each of them by 2, and you get 3 over 2. And yes, you have to reduce fractions. You're in high school now. You're not a little kid anymore. Yes, you absolutely always have to reduce fractions every time you see them for the rest of your life. You're grown. Grown enough. All right, and then 20 divided by 4, well, that makes a 5. That worked out nicely. You're going to notice that on the assignment today, tried to make it so that that second one at least worked out nicely. Doesn't always, but try to make it that way. All right, let's try another one. Okay, start by splitting this thing down the middle. Again, we're trying to get the y by itself, make it look like slope-intercept form. So there's the y. Save that for last. Get rid of that minus x first. Well, the opposite of minus x is plus x. We're going to do a plus x on both sides. The minus 1x and plus 1x cancel and bring down the 2y. And on the other side, I can't do negative 10 plus x. Those don't match. So again, I put the x part first. I don't have to write pluses at the start of math sentences. All right, the 10's already got a minus, so it's pretty obvious what that one is. And the last piece here. Divide everything in the problem by that number that's stuck in front of the y. Those 2's cancel. On this side, well, it's a little confusing because we don't normally write the 1, but this is one of those times where we needed it. That 1x. So that fraction becomes 1/2. And that's reduced already. And then the second division, negative 10 divided by 2, that would make negative 5. Like I said, most of those second fractions are going to reduce down and divide out nicely. But the first ones, they might be a little ugly, but that's okay. Remember that slope, remember m, rise over run? We want it to be a fraction anyway, so that's fine that it's a fraction there. All right, this is what your work is today. Hopefully it's not too bad for you, but if you're struggling, try the Zoom. I'm just sitting there waiting to help you. All right, good luck today.